What's up, everybody? Today we're going to install this remote transmission cooler on my 95 F350. I bought it, it had some transmission issues, so threw down some buco bucks on a transmission. I just want to be able to protect this thing from ever getting hot again. All the parts that I'm using, I will leave a link in the bio, or at least the part numbers in the bio, and then I got all of it from Summit Racing. So follow along, let's mount this thing up. So under the truck here, on the passenger side, I want to mount it in between these two cross members, just because it'd be easy for me to clean these up and weld the steel that I got for my brackets. The cooler will clear my drive shaft, and it's away from the exhaust, and it's also away from adding any heat to my fuel lines. It'll be off enough where it just kind of blow up into this area and hopefully not affect the cab too much. So my plan is to use this 1.5 by 1/4 flat bar, and I'm gonna measure it out to where I have at least 3.5 inches of air gap between the cab and the cooler, but then also I'll leave enough that I can drill holes to mount to the cooler edge over there. So I'll get these cut to length and then we'll bend them up in the press brake. Okay, so now that we got these all cut, should be roughly 4.5. I'm going to measure down 3.5 inches, and we'll put a mark there, and then we'll bend them all in the press. So what we got here is our 50-inch finger brake from old Swag Off-Road. They're not a sponsor, just bought one. It's not 100% complete right now, but it'll work for what we got to do today. It'll be just a little bit more labor than it should be to get everything bent up. These are what our pieces look like now. Now we'll measure where we want to put our holes here, and we'll drill these holes, and this is where the cooler will mount. This will go up to the truck and we'll weld it right there. We got these little clamps. Stand this dude up on edge for a minute. Don't fall over, I don't want you to. I'm gonna set them flush. This cooler is one of their big coolers. It's like 40 rows, I think. It's got a big old fan on it, so there is going to be some wiring today. Okay, so I want my fittings pointed towards
of the truck. We'll stay away from that as much as possible. So that looks like it's going to give me enough.
These things may be cheating, but they are my favorite. It's a center punch, but what you have to do is find wherever your hole's where you want your hole at. And I'm gonna go right there just so it's easy to punch. You just push down. Okay, I'm gonna number these just so I know which one goes where. To me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Okay, we got them drilled. I went with a 1/4 inch. See, that's why I marked where they were at. Well, maybe you see that, because they might be off just a little bit depending on where they are. So now gotta go run to the hardware store, get some 1/4 inch bolts, because the kit does not come with the bolts to mount the cooler itself to whatever bracketry that you make for it. So I got 1/4 inch hardware, got these bolted up. Now we're gonna hold it up in place so I could tack weld these to the cross members. And then once they're tack welded, we'll take this cooler back off, get it out of the way so we don't burn a hole in it. And then got where it's gonna contact all cleaned up. Got a good ground. Do I recommend welding this close to your fuel tank? Nah, but it's just diesel, it'll be alright. Okay, we'll let those cool down, clean it up a little bit, and I'll throw some paint on them so they don't rust, and we'll throw some paint on everything and clear it off too. Okay, so now we'll get to the wiring aspect of it while all that paint's drying. With this particular kit, they suggested not to run the fan off of the temperature switch, so I got a relay. And it came with this relay holder, but we've decided to take these pins out, and in this fuse panel box there's a spare relay holder here. So we took this apart and we'll run all the wires
just out of here. And then that way we don't have a ton of wires running back to the fan. And then the relay it'll look like it's factory. Okay, so this cooler out of the box has this one uses 6AN, which I think is like a 3/8 hose. I bought adapters to just go to regular hose barb. And then both coming out of the transmission and then going into this cooler. So we'll get these installed. It does come with these fittings in the box, and they are sealed with an O-ring. So we'll get these dudes thrown in, and the cooler will be about ready to mount. Okay, cooler is installed into its home. Now we'll get to running these lines and finishing up with some wiring. A couple other fittings I had to get. These come out of the transmission, and they're the 6AN as well. Okay, so I got this AN fitting installed here, but ran into a problem because this is a 1/2" fitting, I believe, and this one is 1/4. So I'm gonna have to order a different adapter for this piece here before I can continue to run the lines. So it's day 2 here working on the old Ford. Dark time came quick. It got cold fast, clouds moved in. Excuses, but I'll show you what all we got done, and let's finish this thing up today. So here in our little distribution box, if I can open this up through the camera, we got, this is our relay for the fan now, and we had an empty maxi spot here. It was originally for like a trailer battery charger, so we decided to use that as our fuse holder, just because now it looks like that fan came factory. If it comes a time where I actually have a trailer that needs a battery to charge, then I'll figure that out. I'll leave that for future Billy problems. And let's go underneath and see what we got for our hose routing. So yesterday we ran into this fitting here. This is actually a check valve. So to find the correct fitting that had my AN adapter lines, I was unsuccessful, so I'm trying out. I just cut a piece of the old line off where it was bent at a 90 long enough, and I got a little extra in here, and I might put another hose clamp just as a safety factor, I guess. I'll face it the other way. I'll put the screw facing up over here, facing out, so that it's kind of pulling from this way, pulling from that way. The more that I thought about it, I didn't like my straight hose for the return, the straight hard line. So I took my brake line tool and just made me a little flare on the end, just something for that hose to catch on is mostly what I was after. I was worried about it just pressuring off or sliding off under pressure. So hopefully now I can put that hose over the top, put my hose clamp on, and then it's got something to catch it from sliding all the way off. And then got this line ran here, and I'll kind of run underneath, move back here, up, runs frame rail into the cooler. So this piece will be our out, this will be our in. We got the temperature sensor here that will hook to the fan. We got our power wire ran down for the fan, and then through this little hole here I've got it ground down. That's going to be our ground. So the ground for the fan will go to that bolt, and then the other side of this switch, we're going to use the ground to control on this switch, and that ground runs back up to that relay, and it'll operate that relay. And then just this one power wire we got here will hook up to this fan. I believe it's the blue, but I'll double check the instructions for that. So I don't have any more of my waterproof connectors, so I had to go get some of these. And what I like to do to kind of make them waterproof, I'll take this and carefully just cut this plastic piece off like so. So you get this bare metal. And let's see, where did I put there's my deal here. Grab my strippers here. Strip that back. Heat shrink. Might have stripped that a little long, but let's see. Yeah, just a little bit. Just trim it a little off there. See how that looks. That's not horrible. Oh, kiddo found some keys, sounds like. We'll crimp this down like so. Fold it in. Now I like to make sure, well, tug test. And we'll slide this piece up about there. Use our torch. A little overkill. This scenario here, let's get some heat, work it from one end to the other. This particular heat shrink has some glue in it, so that when it gets hot, it kind of melts and will really seal this dude up. So if you don't have waterproof, you can make them waterproof. All right, all the lines are ran, wires are ran. Now we're going to turn the key on and jump the ground, like the switch, just to double check that fan's actually going to turn on. Okay, take these two grounds, that one. All right, that concludes this video of the remote transmission oil cooler install. Starting a little build series on this, so follow along. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll catch you on the next one.